What's up, YouTube? How we doing? In this video we're going to talk a little bit about first aid kits. Alright guys, when you're into kayaking, mountain biking, hiking, anything that takes you away from, medical help, it's so important that you have a proper first aid kit. Now you've got tons of options out there as far as putting together a first aid kit. Most folks are going to go out and buy one that's already pre-kitted. You can pick these up at Walmart or Bass Pro Shop, that sort of thing. You can spend anywhere from, $20 to a couple $100. It just depends on, the materials and the tools that you have in your first aid kit. So, I want to talk a little bit today about my first aid kits, what I use them for, when I carry them, and why I carry one over the other, depending on what I'm doing. Alright, this little thing right here, well, this is a cell phone, but I just want to show you size comparison of a iPhone 5 and my first aid kit. This is the one I'm normally carrying for kayaking and fishing. It's small, it's lightweight, and I've selected each individual piece inside this kit based on the type of injuries that are likely to occur in these activities. And when it comes down to kayaking and kayak fishing in particular, the injuries that are most likely to happen when you're out on the water are, probably by far lacerations, cuts, punctures, that sort of thing. Kayak fishing, we're dealing with a lot of sharp tools, a lot of hooks, fillet knives, fish with teeth, fish with spines. I mean, there's a lot that can cut you or stick you. That's kind of what I've built my first aid kit, or my kayak fishing first aid kit, around. Alright, as far as the bag here, this bag I purchased, I think it was Bass Pro Shop, a pre-kitted first aid kit, the contents of which are long gone. I've had this bag for 4 or 5 years. I've used it several times, and I replenish the the tape, the band-aids, the Neosporin, all the gear that comes in here, I replenish and upgrade it, as I go. But this bag's really handy, as you can see. One reason we're talking about first aid is I recently cut myself really bad. So I was not out in a kayak, or I was, I was in a place where safety was readily available, so, thank goodness. But it just kind of stresses the fact that, it's important to think about this stuff and have this stuff with you when you're doing these sorts of activities. It was a deep cut, and it was really hard to get it to stop bleeding. Had I had been 10 miles out on the trail or 3 miles out in the water somewhere where I needed my hands to paddle and get me back to shore, it could have been a more serious issue for sure. So a little bit about this bag. It's very lightweight. It's got a little D-ring here, so you can clip it to other bags, that sort of thing. A little safety pin, which is always great to have around for things like splinters, or these are just great little lightweight tools. And that's pretty much it. It's got a strap on the back to where you can put it on a belt loop. I never put it on my belt. It usually goes in one of my day packs, and I'll move it from day pack to day pack depending on, where I'm going, what I'm doing. And that's it, real small. And let's get down to the contents of the bag. First thing out of the bag, New Skin liquid bandage. This is great. It's got an antiseptic built into it. It'll also cover over a scratch or a small cut, a small puncture, that sort of thing. This is awesome for kayaking, because if you're kayaking, you're paddling in unsterile water. So if you get an injury to your hand or your arm, and you get dirty water in that cut, the likelihood of an infection is pretty good. This New Skin dries really fast, and say if you were to get a puncture or a small cut, you can cover it up, dry it out, and then this will keep that water from getting into and absorbing into your cut. Small set of tweezers, Q-tip with a little bit of tape. Tape is invaluable in a first aid kit. especially enough tape to, say, wrap around and secure around a finger or an arm or a wrist, that sort of thing. So instead of, I can't get the whole roll in this little bag, so I just rolled it up, you know, several feet at a time on a Q-tip. Neosporin ointment. This stuff is awesome. It kind of goes along with the new skin. It is an antiseptic. It's bacteria and zinc. And basically what it does is it's an antibiotic ointment. It keeps your wounds clean and sterile, and keeps infections and bacteria out. This is a bandage patch that I'm soon to replace. I've never used it. I've never had an injury this big. As you can see, the paper on the back of the sticky stuff is starting to wither and dry up. If I really needed this piece of gear, you know, if I had a cut so bad that I needed to, I would probably have to secure this, not with the tape on the back, but secure it on the front and then use, you know, tape or something to wrap it around. So another good point is this piece of gear is probably needs to go and cycled out with something else that would is more new and would better serve a purpose. So this one probably needs to go. Alright, this is high viscosity Dermabond, and as you can see, all this stuff here is really geared towards cuts and lacerations. Here's the specs. This is a topical skin adhesive. Again, you know, cut management, you know, stopping the bleeding, that sort of thing. I mean, that's what we got going on here. Cleaning, you know, debris out of a cut or a wound. Antibacterial ointment, antibiotic ointment, you know, new skin, keeping debris out of a wound, stopping the bleeding. So that's kind of what we're going with here for a fishing and kayak fishing first aid kit. Steri strips, again, closing wounds, stopping bleeding. And now we're going to start getting into a lot of small band-aids for small cuts, small punctures, that sort of thing. Got a lot of that in there. More allergy relief. I always keep a little bit of that with me. Alcohol prep pad for sterilizing tools, that sort of thing. You know, lots of band-aids. Motion sickness. Antibiotic ointment. Band-aids, band-aids, more band-aids. Chloroprep. So this too is for treating and disinfecting wounds, lacerations, cuts, punctures, that sort of thing. Another Q-tip with a thicker tape wrapped around it. This is a standard run-of-the-mill razor blade. Very sharp. I don't plan on performing my own surgeries out on the water, but you never know when you need just a clean and very sharp cutting edge. You know, this would obviously be used in conjunction with the alcohol prep pad. And more Q-tips. Now, this first aid bag is not waterproof. It's kind of got a little bit of a coating in there, but it is definitely not a waterproof bag. So when I do take it with me kayaking, that sort of thing, this goes into my larger dry bag. And that's how I keep everything dry. Alright, so thanks for checking out another video. This is my kayaking and fishing first aid kit. This is an ultralight first aid kit that I normally have with me when I get out on the water and I'm doing kayak and doing fishing. And like I said, this is geared towards, you know, cuts, lacerations, punctures, that sort of thing. The types of injuries that you're going to run into when you're fishing or kayak fishing. Thanks for checking out the video. If you got any questions or comments for me, please let me know. If you've got any suggestions for me to add to this, also let me know that as well too.